Hello, if you're here, I guess you're tired of your job and maybe planning to open a new restaurant. Today, the topic will be since there's a lot of restaurant being closed due to COVID, there's also a lot of opportunities to rent a space that's already fully furnished, already has a kitchen. Lots of restaurants have closed forever, and some have been repossessed by banks, some have been repossessed by the landlord, and a lot of these restaurants are still fully furnished today because people just ran out of money and they had no more money to clean out, to empty the restaurant, or even clean the restaurant. And basically, the landlord ended up with everything inside his building and probably is trying to rent it out as is. So it's like it's a fast turnover. Uh, if you run out of money, right, probably you're behind for 1 month or 2 months rents or 3 months rent. So the landlord would be very interested in renting super fast. He not interested in demolishing everything, renovating everything. It's a cost for him, it's expense for him, and all the equipment already in the kitchen. It's probably added value for somebody who's looking to start a new business. Now we're gonna get into this. There's upsides and downsides to this. You probably have seen restaurant who change owner with a new sign saying new administration. Usually this does not inspire confidence in the customers. I know that for me, when I see new administration, uh, I'm not super motivated to to get into that business. Uh, it's a cheap way to get in. Here's the thing though. First, you have to check how was the business of that restaurant before COVID hit? Because some people's business were not that great before COVID, and COVID is the last thing, like the last straw that made them go bankrupt. I would recommend to go on a YouTube, not YouTube, but maybe a Google review or a TripAdvisor to see what happened in that restaurant before, to see what kinds of reviews they got, and if the restaurant, the location has a good name, was a terrible name. If the restaurant has been also repossessed by the bank, you need to make sure that does the bank own the building or they just own the business inside the building, and for how long will they own the building or how long the rent will be. Another side of this is if you're subletting from someone, how long is the rent good for? How long is the contract good for? Because if you open a place and then you have to move out again after, it's quite expensive, even if all the equipment is yours afterwards. We have a first viewer. Hi, Albert. Good evening to you too, mate. So in the case that the I was going to speak Chinese to you, like the fantong means landlord in Chinese. In the case of if the landlord recouped the building and the person before left everything behind, right? You need to look first at the location, you need to look at the rent, and you need to look at what's left in the restaurant and what condition it is in. Let's say if you did your due diligence and the location is acceptable and the level of rent is acceptable as well, then you need to go inside the kitchen and look at what's available, what's the equipment, how old is it, how dirty it is. Yeah, some stuff like that. Oh, by the way, today I always do after work at a day at work. Sorry, a little bit tired today because I work quite hard. I'm gonna be drinking a Glenfarclas 21. Let's see. Oops, the light's not the best here. All right, Glenfarclas 21. It's a good bottle. I think I paid. How much did I pay for this? Probably around $60, $60 or $70 for this. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's the price, 60, $65. Um, let's grab it. By the way, this is a Highland whiskey at 43%. It's not very strong. It's a sherry cask. Um, it's super sherry. You can smell on the nose. It's kind of sweet as well, like some apple, crunchy apple, green apples. Super smooth. It's not too oily though. Doesn't have like the legs are not bad. Anyway, I'll get back to this after. So here are the strategies to get into the if you get into the kitchen, right, you need to look at the equipment. Like for example, if there's a grill, you need to look Is it going to stand on its own? The other thing is that refrigerators are the most expensive thing in a kitchen. Compressors are expensive to fix. They're like or unfixable if the line in the compressor, the line that brings the freon to the compressor to the refrigerator lines, if that has leaks, right, it's hard to fix, it's hard to find, and people charge you for this. I'm not kidding you. I probably blow one restaurant every, blow a restaurant, blow one refrigerator every year, and it can cost me from $100 to $500 to fix it. So the first thing you want to do is turn on all the refrigerators and let them run for an hour or two and see how hot the compressor is and see what temperature the refrigerator will go to. And if you want to run a real test of it, lower the temperature like close to 0, and the freezer just go minus 18. I think by law it's minus 16 that it should be at, depending on your state or your city. I'm not sure about that. So just run it hard for like an hour or two and see what happens, if you can get there or not. Another thing that you need to look at is the ovens. What kinds of ovens are there in there? Is it a combi? How old is the combi? If you don't know what a combi is, it's a multi-purpose oven. It will steam, it will roast, and it will self-clean as well. They're very useful. They're very expensive too. I think they start like a real size combi starts at maybe 10 grand US, can go all the way up to 30 grand. So make sure that you're on the ball with that. The other thing is that when they break, they're not cheap to fix as well. So if you got like a standard oven, like a gas oven or electric oven, they're quite easy to fix. They're easy to maintain. A combi is great in the kitchen because it's very convenient and useful. However, when they break, they're going to cost you a lot of money to fix because they also have a water line inside that they use for steam. There's a water line as well for evacuating the water, the drain. And the water line that makes steam, right, it's compressed air, hot air, basically. And when this thing blows, not blows, but when it breaks, and then it costs money to fix, a lot of money. Another thing that you should look at is the exhaust system. First thing you should look at, how many horsepower is the motor? I think for a small restaurant with a small grill, maybe like a 3 horsepower should do the job for your oven, your grill, and your kitchen range. In my restaurant, because I grill a lot of ribs and a lot of steaks or burgers, it makes a lot of smoke, so I run a 6 horsepower engine on this, on a pitai, I want to speak Chinese again, on a fan belt and on a belt. So make sure the belt is good as well. Belts are cheap to fix. Now the other thing that goes with this exhaust fan, every city has a environmental code. So there's also like an air cleaner attached to that machine. You might want to inspect that as well. The machine is not very expensive. I think it's $1,000 to maybe $2,000. Again, not expensive. We're talking commercial equipment here. It's not cheap, but it's not the most expensive part in your place there. So you might want to check that too, see if it's clean or if it's working properly. If you got to replace the unit, then it's going to cost you like a grand or two. If it's just needs cleaning and fixing, probably can do it yourself. And the electric part, you can ask somebody to come and do it for you. After that, you got to move on to the kitchen range. It's pretty straightforward, gas burners and stuff. Easy to maintain, easy to fix. I think you can do it yourself on YouTube. Now, depending on the size of your restaurant and the code in your city, you're probably going to need a fire extinguisher system inside all the exhaust fan over all your equipment that has gas. These things cost money as well. Make sure you're up to code. Make sure your tanks will need to be checked and refilled for sure. There are inspections for this. And another thing that you want to look at is a grease trap. Make sure the grease trap is, sorry about that. The grease trap is clean and it's ready to go. You can clean it yourself. There are chemicals for that. It's not the hardest part. And look at the floor too, if the floor is good or not good. And then please do not forget to look for rat excrement and look for cockroaches as well. You can go to the city. There's an office in every city where they do inspections of restaurants, and they have a track record of the inspections and what happened there. And if you see that the place you want to rent has many violations for rodents and rats and cockroaches, then that place has a problem. As much money as you can throw at an exterminator, some places is just not going to work. Maybe it's the city, maybe it's the sewer system, maybe the building, but it's an uphill battle. Trust me, I've been there, I've done that. It's not, skip it. You're going to spend thousands of dollars to eliminate rats, and it's not going to work 100%. And when the inspectors come and they see rat shit behind the fridge, well, you're pretty much cooked. You're pretty much done. In the city where I'm at, right, it's almost open air sewers, and I had some issues with rats, and it cost me a lot of money. I tried everything. I finally got it under control, but it was a lot of expenses and time, and plus it's disgusting. So make sure that is that. Now, if you look through this entire thing and you think that the location is good, price-wise, the rent, try to negotiate a little bit of rent. The landlord, or the bank is probably desperate to rent out because they lost money in the previous months. It's a sherry bomb. It's a little bit of white pepper at the end here. So back to our business here. Negotiate with the landlord, and it's a little bit controversial, but when you sign the lease, right, go for as many years as you can. Reason being, you don't want the landlord to jack your rent. Here's what happens, right? It happens in my city here. My landlord just did that to me. I'll make another podcast on this at one point. My landlord's business was getting destroyed on his side, and it was time to renew the contract in the middle of COVID. So basically, he's losing money in his other restaurant, his businesses, and he saw that, well, you're there, you're not going anywhere. So he tried to jack me up 20% because my rent was up after a 3-year contract. He wouldn't sign longer. And now I'm in the middle of, maybe am I staying or not staying? Am I leaving? Am I going? If I'm leaving to another place, right, I give 2 months deposit plus moving all my equipment, redesigning, right? I've got maybe $30,000 to $50,000 of moving to another place, which is not great. Here's the other part. If you sign maybe a 5 to 10 year contract, let's say you want to get out of the restaurant business. When you sell that business, you already have a lease that is good for a long time, so it's more enticing. Watch this, I sold 6 restaurants here, and all of them have very long leases, because what people are looking for when they want to buy a business, they want stability. They don't want surprises. So maybe that's your exit strategy for your restaurant, or you think maybe I'll give it a go for a year, 2 years, 3 years, you want to get out. Well, it's going to help you sell. The other thing, which is a little bit, a lot of people get out of the restaurant business because they're bankrupt. So I don't know how to say this politely, but if you're going to go bankrupt, it doesn't matter how many years you have on your lease, because you're bankrupt, right? You're not going to pay it, and he can't sue you because you're bankrupt. So sad for the landlord, but it changes nothing in your reality as an investor or as a restaurant owner. I see only upsides to signing long lease, unless you want to get out of your lease and move to another place. But I think 5 years is fair enough. Now, if we continue on that vein, if you sublease from someone who doesn't want to go bankrupt, because you will see this as well, right? Some people just want to get out and they don't want to go bankrupt. They want to keep their good name, and they're ready to sell you the business or just sublease you the business, give you all the equipment for free. They just don't want to go bankrupt. So some people will make it very enticing for you. But if you look at the lease and you see like 6 months or 1 year, you need to have a conversation with the landlord and sign an extension. If the landlord is not open to sign an extension, then skip it. Don't do it. He's waiting for you. With COVID, right, probably lost money in other business. Most of the landlords, right, it's an investment property and they have their core business. Their core business, they use the money to buy property, to rent it out and make more money, right? They're building capital and they're building collateral as well. So if he's not interested in extending the lease, skip it, because he's going to be waiting for you at the corner there. And if it's your first restaurant, you're probably already tight on cash. You probably don't have a lot of money in the bank. You probably borrowed money or took money from your family or partners. And then if after a year you have to move, it's going to cost you tons of money, and you have to go through the same process of vetting a location and going like inspection, checking the equipment or moving company and all this stuff. So don't do it. Another thing that the bank, if you go, it's a bank repo, right? Repossession. Um, the banks don't care about you. They won't help you. They just want their money back. For them, they're even allowed to lose a bit of money, right? Because it's just the bottom line. They made money with that property anyway. Usually when a bank repossesses a building or something and they rent it out, well, their first goal is to sell that. They don't want to be in the business of managing buildings. So what they're doing is that they're going to lease it until they can sell it. It's probably going to be stapled in your contract, and you probably have no choice to move out if the new owner wants you to move out. On the upside, probably the other landlord, the new landlord, will want to have occupancy inside so he can already pay the mortgage on the building. So that's a bit tricky. I would not rent from a bank-owned building because there's no stability there. They hold all the cards, right? And even if they tell you no problem, they sell the building, they want you out, they don't mind paying you to get out. So it's not a money thing, is that you're trying to build a name, reputation, location, and all that time will be lost, and all that investment in the location will be lost, and then you have to start over again. So be very careful with that. Now we get to another serious part. We looked at the kitchen, we looked at the lease and the location. The front of the house, if you think that you can get inside a business that went bankrupt or shut down and then just go in with the same decoration, the same chairs and the same tables and the same menu, well, you're out of luck, my friend. People will not accept. If you're like a neighborhood restaurant or whatever, like if you're not a big chain, you're just a neighborhood restaurant, people used to be customers there. When they go back in, they're going to be asking for the owner. And when you say you're the new owner, well, then the rumor mill is going to start. And then people are going to go like, well, the food was better with the old owner. Or, people are going to try to chat you up, and like they're from the neighborhood. So they're going to try to influence you on how you do business. I think it's terrible. I would clean house, like seriously. I'm not saying make like $1 million decoration inside, but change the colors for sure. Change the decoration for sure. Change the lamps and the chandelier. Change the lighting. Change the sign outside. If the sign used to be round, make a square one. Don't try to patch over things to save money, because in the long run you won't. People want something new. They want something fresh. They don't want reheated stuff. It would be like if you went to a restaurant and they served you reheated food, not fresh food. So it's a little bit in the same state of mind that you should be looking at this. Give me a second here. Decoration. Wow, that's really, really good. Decorations do not need to be expensive, but they need to be tasteful. If you go look at the videos of my restaurants that I had before, there are certain colors that are yes, and there are certain colors that are a no. And it's like dressing yourself. What you like maybe is not conducive to good business. For example, in my restaurant, the music that I play in the restaurant, it's not music that I personally like. It's music that the customer will enjoy or fits with the atmosphere of the restaurant. So if you decide to paint your restaurant red because you like red, well, you're kind of putting yourself in a corner here, because nobody likes a red room unless it's like a concept or a theme room. So acceptable colors for a restaurant is white, wood color, light green, blue, dark blue, blue gray, and maybe a black ceiling or a white ceiling. And usually not more than 3 colors at the same time. So if you got to do research on this, dark restaurants only work in the evening. Dark restaurants do not work well for lunch. A very light restaurant does not work well in the evening. and a light restaurant works well for lunch or breakfast. So you need to find balance or make decision if you're going to open only night or day. So designing a restaurant is going to be another podcast at one point because it's simple but it's complicated. The other thing, the floor, is it damaged? Is it not damaged? Is it worn or not worn? You can buy some, like if you see behind me, right? My floor is not real wood, it's vinyl tiles. You can get away with that or with tiles. And you got to make sure that it looks clean, because if you're brand new open, the first thing you see when you open is the floor. And if your floor is damaged, then people are just going to go, well, that's reheated. And you could go and say, oh, it's vintage, but people are not stupid. So when you look at that new location, make sure that the floor is good. Kitchen floor and the dining room floor is very important. Now, maybe you have a bar or a counter inside the restaurant. If it's a nice bar, keep it. If it's not a nice bar, replace it, or maybe do a paint job on it. Or you know what you can do is what I do sometimes, right? When I refresh my restaurant, I'm not building a new bar. I'm going to change the outside appearance of the bar with some wood and I'll make like some diamonds on it or something so it looks fresh and new, and I'll redo the countertop so it looks fresh and new, but in reality it's the same bar in the back, the same fridge under, and nobody sees anything. So, wow, you did renovation. Say, yeah, I did. But was it very deep renovation? No, it wasn't. So I just changed the look a little bit. And same with lights. If there are lights in the restaurant, right, if you get neons, get rid of that crap. Neons is good for McDonald's. Not even McDonald's doesn't use neons anymore. So be careful with that. There are many good opportunities out there right now. You got to be vigilant. Even I, on my side, I'm not planning on opening a new restaurant, but every day I'm on websites like a rental property website, and I'm looking at where the prices are. Is it dipping, not dipping? Which location is dipping or not dipping? That place there 3 months ago was worth that price, and now it's worth that price. And I'm probably looking to open a bar because the prices are going so low. Even though bars are not allowed to open yet, I'm probably going to open one and just sit on it because the rent now is time to sign. So the same advice goes to you, right? Maybe now it's not going to be a super busy business, but if you're building now and getting ready for after, when it's time to open for you, you're going to be ready, and some people are going to be stuck behind and catching up with you. My restaurant, the dining rooms just reopened now, and a lot of people went bankrupt, or some people, they're not ready. They fired all their staff, and I kept all my workers, and I paid for it, but it is what it is. But those restaurants fired their employees, or let them go, and they're not coming back. So some restaurants are not ready to reopen yet, and they're kind of in trouble a little bit, I'd say. So prepare in advance. Also in your business plan, right? Because it's post-COVID, make sure you got enough money to roll for a few months. If all your money is going into design, decoration, and kitchen equipment, and you don't have money to roll for 6 months, you're pretty much shooting yourself in the foot, because even though places is going to reopen, depending on the states or the province where you're in Montreal or in Canada or in the US, right? Some places are open at full capacity, some places open at half capacity, and some places are not open or going to re-shut down, or the mask rules is going to, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen in your state, but make sure you get cash flow to roll for a while, because it's uncertain. I don't want to get into politics, especially not American politics, because one, I'm not American, and two, I don't really care. But the government at the moment in America is kind of unstable. In Canada, our prime minister is just stupid. So there you go. Who knows what he's going to do. So make sure, like I said, have a little bit of savings in the back there and go slowly. And make a deal with your landlord. Like, listen, landlord, this is COVID time. I have to build this place. I'm not going to make money for the first few months. And you probably can negotiate like half a month for free or full month for free. Every time I do commercial building here in Taiwan, I negotiate with the landlord, and we always agree that he's going to give me like 30 days for free to build up the place. So check that out. It's possible. I know in Montreal, in my city, the landlords would usually do it as well, because they want to keep you for a long time. They also want stability, because they also have to pay mortgage. So it's something to look at. Wow, I'm talking a lot here. By the way, the 21, I think for the price that it's at, I think it's fair enough. I think 65, 70 bucks for 21 years. Glenfarclas is a good house. It's still family owned, and they make quality, and because they don't spend money on advertising, they can actually sell you whiskey a lot cheaper. Most of it is all sherry whiskey, so sherry cask. So if you like sherry, go for it. You won't regret it. The 25 is fantastic, and I think the 18 is one of my favorite bottles. So there you go. Right, we live in a strange time right now. If you have a little bit of savings and money, you can actually, it's kind of the perfect time to open a business. I opened my first restaurant in Taiwan in 2008. I had a bar before that, but my real restaurant, I opened a steakhouse in 2008 in the middle of the financial crisis of 2008, the mortgage crisis. And in Taiwan here, all the restaurants and hotels were closing for good. Like some hotels never reopened. And I was going to open a restaurant, which is like a steakhouse with a butchery in the steakhouse. And people ask me, oh, you're pretty brave to open a restaurant. You're going to sell like $5 meals. I say, no, I'm going to sell like the equivalent in the US, like a proper steakhouse. No, I'm going to sell like $100 steaks. And people thought I was crazy. And here's the funny part. All the restaurants closed. I was the only one, like I'd say Bistro Deluxe steakhouse that opened at that time. And when the economy started to pick back up, well, I was ready. And I pretty much took the entire market of steakhouses in my city. I took the entire market of butchery as well, because all the butcheries closed as well. So, and then before people had time to catch up with me, I already had the entire market, and my standard of food, people could come to the butchery, they choose the cut like a ribeye, a fillet, a short rib, and then I would put it on a cutting board and I would ask them, where do you want me to cut this? How do you want this cooked? Well, I already elevated the standard of the city because they've never seen that before here. So when other steakhouse open, first they try to copy me, but then people already knew that it's my thing. And number two, other restaurants who try to do high quality steaks were just trying to catch up with me. And for me, after I think 3 months of operation, I bought the business, the clothing store next door. I broke the wall down. I doubled my square footage in the restaurant. So pretty much everybody was trying to catch up with me, and I made shit tons of money. Sorry the language, but a lot of money, which gave me the money to open more restaurants after and to sell them and do other stuff as well. Other companies like this table here. I had a table company here, and I make these tables as well. And so it gave me the resources to do. So what I was getting to is that it's a great time right now as well to open a business or get ready to open a business. When everything is going well, right, the market is saturated with restaurants. Everybody wants to open a restaurant. You and I, we go to a restaurant, we look at it, business is good. I say, well, I should do that too. It looks easy, it looks nice. Everybody's doing it, so why can't I? And you'll see the real restaurant. Look around in your neighborhood. Look who's staying open, who's closed. The people who are staying open is the place where you're going to go when they reopen, because first, they're still in business, and second, these people kept their staff, and you're going to feel like a little bit like we went through something together. If you build now and you open like right now or after COVID is done, then people are going to see you as, well, all these places closed, this new place open, let's go try it, right? You get a free pass in your neighborhood. It's amazing. It's like people have no choice. They go to McDonald's, they're sick of McDonald's. They go to Burger King, they're sick of Burger King. The takeaway places on Uber or Food Panda, or I don't know the companies in America or Canada, but they're sick of takeaway food, right? They want to go out, they want to try something new. So basically, just by opening the door, you get free customers walking in. So why not take advantage of this? And a lot of people right now, they're a little bit scared of opening. They're scared of uncertainty, or maybe banks will not loan them. So if you got a little something in the bank and you're thinking, well, it's time. Well, it is actually time. You have to do it carefully. You have to plan. You cannot just say, oh, I'm going to do this, right? And look around in your neighborhood. Who survived? What kind of food survived? And then find a place where Nobody's doing this kind of food anymore in that neighborhood. And for example, if you want to do Mexican food, you're not Mexican or you don't know anything about Mexican food, well, there are a lot of people out of a job right now and a lot of people ready to pick up a chef's job. So you can find people to do food that you're not comfortable with. Let's say you're a French chef and, well, if you're a French chef, you can do everything. So there you go. But my meaning, if you used to do burgers and hot dogs and you want to move up in steak, right? Well, you can find a good grill guy right now. And it's not going to be too expensive. They're not going to overcharge you because right now there are no restaurants employing. There are too many chefs for the jobs available. So it's the best time to actually start a business. And also, it's good time to find a chef. Like, for example, they've been broke for a while now. You know, they don't make... Yeah, apparently the government's giving free money to people. I don't know how that works, but a lot of chefs, right, they also want to be restaurant owners. So it's a good time to partner up with a chef who doesn't have the money saved to open a restaurant. I'm not saying you're giving share of your restaurant, but you can find a chef, pay him less, and give him shares in the profit of the restaurant. It's completely acceptable. And shares in profits, right, will only motivate your chef to make more money, work more hard, and hire better people because he gets a stake in the game as well. Or you could also do it with conditional shares in the company as well, right? For example, what you do it on a 1 or 2 years basis. I've done this before. 2 years basis, you get a percentage of the profits, and if after 2 years everything goes well, we can convert that into shares in the company. Maybe 1 year 5%, the second year another 5%. If it doesn't work out, then you got a buyout plan for the first 5%. So it's something to look at. So you can find people who are qualified and give them, I'm not saying give them like low ball them, but you can entice better chef that you can afford in reality to come work with you for a cut in the profits or a cut of the shares of the restaurant. So it's something to look at. I'm not in that position right now, but I've been in that position before and actually worked out nice. And to give you an example, some chefs, they came in, they had shares in the profits, and they did not want to convert shares into shares in the company. They just liked the cash. And I had one chef who wanted shares in the company, and we also had a buyout plan. And when he was ready to go open his own restaurant, he converted his shares back. He sold them back to me for a fair price. So it's something is possible. I think it's the perfect time. So many opportunities out there. I was looking at the battery level. If I had those opportunities when I was a young kid, right, or younger, like 18, 19, I would have jumped on it. So trust me, there are people out there waiting to jump on this. We scattered a little bit here, but I'm talking about whatever I want to talk about because I'm off work, having a glass of whiskey, enjoying myself. Scotch, by the way. I don't drink whiskey, I only drink Scotch. Bourbon sometimes. So yeah. We scattered a little bit around. To go back inside the place you want to sublease or you want to take over, inside is going to be plates, cutlery, and dining ware and stuff like that. Some you can reuse, some you can't reuse. You're going to have to find out what you want to do, what kind of food you want to serve, and if it works with the new scheme color of your restaurant and the new ambiance of your restaurant. Plates cost money. Like, you go like, yeah, I'll buy a plate. It's like $3 for a plate, $4, $5 for a plate. But when you buy 60 of them, 80 of them, take out your calculators and now you know how much it costs. And for every plate, you need a bowl for soup, maybe a bowl for salad. Maybe your forks and knives are already so scratched that you don't feel comfortable opening a new restaurant and giving secondhand dining utensils. Something to look at. Glasses, when they go in the dishwasher for like too many times, too many years, they're not really, they're shaded, they're scratched, they're shaded, they're not transparent anymore. Something you might want to look at as well. Glasses cost between $2 and $10 a piece, depending if it's margarita glass or it's just a water glass. But I would say that if I'm going to a new open restaurant and I see scratched glasses, I go like, all right, well, if you cut corners on what I can see, then I can just imagine what corners you're cutting with things that I can't see, right? This is how I evaluate a restaurant. I go to the bathroom, and if it's not clean, then I say, well, I can see this, right? I can see that it's not clean in the toilet. Then let's imagine where I cannot see. So how clean really is your kitchen? I think it's very, very telling. I don't understand. In Asia, they don't really take care of their toilets. I don't understand. I can look at a toilet and say, well, I'm not eating here, because if I can see that, then imagine in a kitchen where I can't see. And most of my restaurants have open kitchens where you can see everything in the kitchen. So I don't hide stuff. We're in the toilet as well. Make sure, it's clean as it can be. Sometimes maybe you have to redo the floor or repaint, refresh. The smell of urine, right? You probably have to repaint to get rid of it. Yeah, these are like all small things that add up, right? A lot of people have this idea that, oh, I'm just going to rent a place and then I'm just going to open and barbecue some steaks. But put yourself in the customer's shoes, right? If you go in and it's not tight, it's not tight. I think the hardest part in a restaurant, when you come to my places, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to open a restaurant. I see here everything's great. It looks so easy. But I think the art of owning a restaurant is make everything that is hard look easy so people feel comfortable. When the chef is screaming, well, shit's not tight. If the staff is running in a restaurant, then their things are not tight. They're not well trained, or they're understaffed. It's not tight. It has to be tight. Walk fast, yes. Run, no, right? If your waitresses are always like, give me a minute, give me a minute, give me a minute, then it's not tight, right? It should be yes, sir, no problem, sir. Even if you're not ready, if you have to make them wait a little. But it's all little stuff like that that adds up at the end. And if you do it right, it looks easy, and then people just go like, oh, I should open a restaurant too. And then I go like, sure, you should. You should. Go do it. I mean, next time you come back to my restaurant, probably have a little bit more appreciation for what I do. I want to stress this out for you guys, if somebody is listening or watching at one point. It looks easy, but it's not. The hours you're going to put in that restaurant, it's probably going to be 60 to 70 in the first years. Your wife is not going to see you, or your husband's not going to see you, or your wife and husband won't see you. You're probably going to miss 1 year of your kid's life for sure. It's not an easy business. I love what I do because I always have the freedom to say, I don't want to do this anymore, and I can pack up my shit and go do something else. I can always go back to working. Well, I've never worked in a factory, but my point is I could always go back and work somewhere else or do something else, or just go hunt the planet, or I do something. I've got this freedom. I like what I do, so I'm kind of lucky. Sometimes it gets a little bit heavy or hard. Like right now, probably going to have to work like 60 hours a week for the next 4 months. Having a hard time finding employees and good people, so I have to pick up the slack. So yeah, it's think about it. It's super exciting to build a new place. It's the part that I love the most. If I could find like a job that would be just building places, I think this is what I would do. There are jobs like this. I've done this before for a company. The problem is that you reach a ceiling of pay, you reach a ceiling of profit, you reach a ceiling of freedom, and I also have a ceiling in creativity, because basically you're doing somebody else's vision. You're not really doing yours. You have your inputs, but so it's not really interesting for me at one point. Yeah, you get a lot of freedom. You get the freedom to work harder. You get freedom to spend more money, and you don't have the freedom to be angry. If you're a person that gets angry very easily, I would seriously consider maybe another line of work. If you have a short fuse, short temper. Gordon Ramsay on TV, right? It's funny. He screams at people and stuff like that. I've been screamed at when I was an apprentice in the kitchen. But is it really a way of life, being angry all the time? Is it really how you want to live your life, right? You go home. It takes, like right now, right? I did, 13-hour day today. I'm here talking to you, decompressing with a glass of whiskey. It takes me about an hour to 2 hours to decompress, and I'm not an angry person. If you're an angry person, that glass of whiskey is going to turn out to be maybe 10 glasses of whiskey, and then you're just going to be more tired the next day. You're just going to be more angry the next day. You're going to go home to your wife, kids, or partner, and you're not going to be in a good mood. You're going to become not very pleasant to be around. And another thing that you need to remember, you are so busy that you don't really have time for friends anymore. Friends will disappear. They won't be there anymore because first you're working weekends, they're working weekdays. And so you won't have any places to vent anymore. You won't be able to share. You probably don't have to pay for a therapist. If, like, I talk to a therapist because sometimes I just need to vent. And I'm not saying I'm crazy, but I am a little. You have to be crazy to do what we do anyway. So yeah, if you're an angry person, I would really seriously make sure that you're in check. It's already hard as it is. Another thing that you should consider if you're going to rent right now is if you have plans to expand your business, next door to you, can you buy them out? Is it the same landlord? If like you're in a shopping mall or something like that, you can always expand next door and just give more money to the company. But if you're in the middle of let's say a busy neighborhood, maybe you don't have the opportunity to expand next door. It's another thing to look at. Yeah, and moving. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, if you're renting from the landlord, right, the equipment is not yours. So if at one point you need to move, you start from zero. So make sure, that's why I put the emphasis on make sure your rent is a long-term rent, not a short-term rent. Because let's say you're there for 2 years and it's not your equipment, well, then when you move, you have to buy everything, right? And to buy like normal size, I'll give you an example. A mixer to make bread, right? Like a 3 kilo mixer, I'd say it's not like a kitchen mixer. It's a bit bigger, right? Well, these things, they cost $700, $800, depending on the quality. So that's just, then after that, you need a mixer for your cake. KitchenAids are great, but we don't use those in the kitchen because they won't last long. You know, if it's for house, it's for home. But these mixer, they cost you $300 to $500 as well. And refrigerators, they cost thousands of dollars. They start like $1,000. A bar fridge, right? 2 doors, it's $1,000 as well. So bar fridge in the kitchen, you need maybe 2 more counter fridge. Then you need freezers and stand-up fridge with 4 doors. And just in refrigeration in the restaurant, the park, the restaurant where I'm at right now, right? I think I have like $10,000 worth of refrigerators. You need a refrigerator for your beer. I've got a wine fridge. Then after that, air conditioning. You can't just go out. You know, you need air conditioning and you need heat for winter, depending on where you live. But these things, they cost a lot of money. Air conditioning, just the machinery in my restaurant and at the park, right? It's probably close to $30,000 just to keep the restaurant cool. So if you rent a place, this equipment is there, and then you need to move out, right? This is all stuff you need to buy again. So again, look at the duration of your lease. Unless you just want to open a restaurant for 2 years to have fun. It's not very professional, but you know, maybe that's what you just want to try to make sure you like it before you invest a lot of money in your own equipment. The same tables and chairs, right? When you go to IKEA and you buy like 4 chairs and a table is great, but in a restaurant, IKEA chairs, they just don't cut it. They'll break. You need commercial grade chairs, like metal legs. It needs to be solid, and tables the same. And when you buy a table and a chair, let's say you spend like 4 chairs and a table, you spend $100, $200. Well, let's say in your restaurant you have 20 tables. You see how fast that goes. And then so all things that you need to think about, small details, but at the end, every dollar adds up, and every dollar is a lot of dollars. Yeah. I hope I'm not discouraging you. I'm just trying to lay out like the land, lay the land for you, right? It's not just like I'm going to put the barbecue outside and it's going to be great, right? We got inspections, health code, and, you know, insurance to pay. I haven't even talked about insurance and accounting yet, but yeah. If you're listening to me and you're going, whoa, that's a lot. Well, maybe do a lot of research, you know, do more research than listening to me. See what's up in your city. If you think like this is okay with me and This is great. I'm up for it. Then good for you, because if you have the drive, then I think if you have, I think in business, the same for every business, right? If you have drive, you're gonna go. You're gonna take chances and you're gonna go for it, and it's gonna be hard, difficult, but you're gonna enjoy it. If you're scared and you have drive, I think you can do it. If you're scared and you don't have drive, you're probably not gonna make it, because at one point you're gonna be tapping out. And I don't know for you, but I'm not going to compare myself to Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, but these guys, they don't tap out. They take huge risks. And I think it's the same, but at a smaller scale, right? In 2008, when I opened that place, my steakhouse, I took a huge risk, right? A huge risk for me, it was all my money plus other money. And plus, I had a partner because I didn't have enough money to do what I wanted to do. And having a partner, it's not fun every day, I promise you. So, yeah. There is no better feeling in life than signing the rent to a place and having a vision of what's going to happen in that place. I think there's no better feeling. Every time I sign a lease somewhere, I am so happy. The last restaurant I opened, I was not planning on opening it. I found a perfect place for it. And I signed the lease, and then I told my wife after, and she went like, "What are you doing? We're not opening a new restaurant." And then I said, "Well, I guess we are now," because I have a vision, I have a plan, and it made me so happy when I signed the lease and I said, "I know what I'm doing here." And the restaurant is called The Park. It's working great. It's been open for 5 years, and it's making money, and yeah, it's making good money actually. But to build the place was amazing, and I gave myself, because I've been doing this for so long, right? I gave myself more trouble than I should. I gave me a very short deadline to open, and I was moving from one restaurant to another. My lease was up in one place. I was moving that restaurant inside that restaurant, and I gave myself like 8-day windows. And the guys were building my bar and doing all my stuff, and I told them before I signed the contract, "Hey, by the way, contractors, right? You fix the rules. They don't fix the rules for you. If they don't want to follow the rules, change contractor. Don't sign it. Give them a deadline, and then at the end of the deadline, if it's not done, give them penalties. And if they don't want to sign it, find another guy." Like seriously, people, they do two, three jobs at the same time, and then, "Oh, I gotta go there, I gotta do this, the material's not there." Just give them a hard date, and then give them penalties. Every major corporation does that. For example, if you're Costco, right? If you supply Costco, your delivery's late, you get a penalty, right? It's not a small penalty. It can be up to 25%, right? So basically all your profit. So people are never late when they deliver to Costco. So yeah, so give them a hard date. And I did that. These guys have been with me for a long time. They know how I work. And I gave them 8-day hard date was 8 days. And I said, "Can you do it or not? If you can't, then I'll find somebody else." And they said he could do it. Then on the 7th day, he told me he needed one more day. And I said, "It's not in the contract." And they said, "Yeah, but it's really," like, I gave him an extension because it wasn't really his fault at that time. We were waiting for the city to come connect the gas. So fair enough. So, but I gave myself more trouble because I gave myself 8 days. I said, I just wanted to see if I could do it. I think I documented it because it was just fun to do it. So yeah, it was great. And then we opened on the 9th day, and everything went well, and the business is good. So I think it's the best part. When you're going to sign that lease, right, you're going to be very scared. But at the same time, you're going to be so excited. It's going to be a mixed feelings, like a weird feeling. And your life partner, right, it's going to be a bit scared as well, like leaving stability for uncertainty. But then when you're going to start building and you're going to start seeing your vision come through, you're going to get so excited and you're going to be so motivated. Then when you open the doors, all your friends are going to come and your family is going to come, and you're going to be like so stressed, so rushed, and nothing's going to work right in the kitchen. Nothing's going to work right in the front of the house. But it doesn't matter because it's your family and your friends. They understand what's going on. It's like a test run. It gives you like a week. It buys you a week to do things right. And at that point, you're going to go, all right, this is where we are. And then you're going to reevaluate what went well, what went wrong. And then you're still planning and scheming to make things go better and more exciting as well. Change the menu, some stuff, or change how you bring plates to the table, or change how the dishwasher operation works. And basically, it's a run in your restaurant that you're getting paid to do. So, and you're going to be so happy to see some money come back. It's not going to be like the biggest money in the world, but at least you know you can survive another month with that money from the first week. So you see, I'm getting excited just talking about it. It makes me want to open a restaurant again, and I have no need for it. That's why I'm trying to open a bar. Here's the thing. I drink maybe one glass or two every day. I don't drink, and I usually go to bed before 11. My restaurants close early because I don't want to deal with drunk people. And now I'm planning on opening a bar, but I think it's actually the idea of owning a bar. It's not the idea of operating a bar. So maybe I'll just build it and sell it to somebody else, or get a partner to run it for me. Something like that. I don't know. I like to build stuff. Like I told you before, I build these tables here. I built this studio here by myself. I'm in the middle of a warehouse. I own a warehouse, and I'll show you a picture one day of it. Actually, maybe there's a video you can go look at. It's a warehouse, and I built a music studio and a video studio here. And I didn't use it for maybe a month or two after I built it, because I have drums here, guitars and stuff, and I have a keyboard, and I have a sofa, and I've got a refrigerator behind me. And basically the fun part was to build it, and once it was all built, I went like, all right, well, this is boring now, so I haven't used it much. That's why I'm here now. I'm trying to use it a little bit more. With COVID, it gave me another place to go and hang with social distancing and not having to wear a mask. So anyway, guys, I think that's pretty much it for tonight. If you have any questions, we didn't have any live viewers today, but hey, maybe next time. If you have any questions, put in the comment section. If you'd like to talk about a subject about restoration or restauranting or anything else, just let me know, and I'll do a little bit of research for you, and we'll check it out. So anyway, that's that, guys. So catch you later.